Let's get this party started. So this is another video intro. No, this is just like PowerPoint. So I would like to get started. It's the Mermaid to Dataverse access. I'd like to initialize my speaker module. So hi, my name is Luise Freese. I'm an Azure and Power Platform architect based in Germany. I'm an MVP. I'm a mother of teenage dragons. They are my daughters. I'm known for changing the world one app at a time, and I have a serious rage against Visio. I'm usually running pink, and session objectives for today are turning entity models into working Dataverse schemas, leveraging Azure, and deploying everything securely and repeatably. So ClickOps will be disabled for today, and let's get into it. So usually when I consult with my customers, they really have to think about their data first. And that is something that they will want to try to avoid at all costs. And they really have a hard time to articulate what they need and to grasp how everything will come together. And obviously, entity relationship diagrams will help with the visualizing part, but they are disconnected from your Dataverse environment. And that means it's just a pretty picture. And that means endless reviews and feedback loops, because you draw and draw again, and then you present this to stakeholders, and then they give feedback, and then you need to change the tiny little thing again, and then you need to draw again. And then Luise gets angry at Visio again. So I'm really not into ClickOps. I hate clicking around in portals and doing non-repeatable stuff. So we know that infrastructure as code is just like way more superior. And in Azure, we already established several cool ways on how to ensure to have repeatable deployments. For example, with Bicep, which is my favorite. But if you want to do Terraform, that's fine as well for me. And that means that your deployment definition is code, and that can be logged into source control, which is cool. And for Power Platform, we have Power Platform pipelines, we have the Power Platform build tools for Azure DevOps, but that then only works if you already have a solution that you can then export from somewhere. And that means that there is a poor soul that needs to build the solution with all the tables and so on and so forth. And that poor soul usually is me, and then me and the rage against Visio. You get the drift. Okay. So I would like to treat everything as code. And that also means I would like to have the definition of what I need to build as code. And there Mermaid JS comes to the rescue. So for everyone who does not know what is Mermaid, Mermaid is a diagramming and charting tool, and it's based on JavaScript. And it renders kind of markdown inspired text definitions and will then create and modify dynamically your diagrams. And you can do all sorts of diagrams with Mermaid JS, like flowcharts or mind maps, but also entity relationship diagrams, ERDs. So this here is a Mermaid ERD, pun intended. And this will be the solution that we will be talking about today. So what you can see here at the very top is we do have a definition. It's ER diagram that just like tells Mermaid which kind of diagram it is. It is not a flowchart, but that is an entity relationship diagram. And then we have a couple of tables. We have the account table, the contact table, and then we have an event, a location, and an event attendee table. And all of these tables, they come with a column type, a column name, and a column description. Column description, incredibly important for accessibility reasons and also for good usability, because the description becomes the tooltip in the model-driven app later on that will be connected to your Dataverse table. So please always fill that out. And then here right at the bottom, we see that we do have relationships. Account to event attendee, contact to event attendee, event to event attendee, and the location to the event. And if that is a little bit too abstract for you, that on the left hand here translates and renders directly to this on the right hand here. So that is absolutely the same. In case you were wondering, that is something that I did in Microsoft Loop. And Copilot helped with that, obviously. So you can use Copilot to just like have those Mermaid ERDs for you generated. And on the left-hand side, that is something that is basically code as it is text, and that is versionable. And on the right-hand side, that's the very same thing. It renders quite nicely, for example, in loop. And this is very, very easy for even very non-technical people to read, like stakeholders in a project. So the next logical step then would be to build a tool that would transform the Mermaid ERDs into Dataverse tables and columns and relationships, right? And support, let's say, nearly all data types. And as Mermaid does not support choices or choice columns, finding a neat way on how to create or select from the global choices that already exist in your environment, or have the ability to create new global choices. And then let users decide if they want to add to an existing solution with an existing publisher, or if they want to start from scratch. Yes, so that is what I actually did. So I built that tool. So that's my tech stack. It's React 18 with TypeScript, and it's Fluent UI, and it's Vite. And for Vite, huge shout out to Marcin, who showed everyone how fast Vite works. And I love everything about it. So big shout out to him. Thank you. For authentication and authorization, to make calls to the Dataverse API, you need to have a Dataverse application user that needs to be associated with an Entra app registration. And that app registration, of course, that has a secret, and I store this secret in a key vault. Then I use a managed identity to access that key vault so that I can just like very securely retrieve that secret. And my backend is in Node.js, and everything is deployed to an Azure web app. That was just like a little bit abstract. Here is the beautiful image for that. So once again, we have that application user here on the right-hand side associated with the app registration. Client is stored in the key vault. We will access the key vault with the managed identity that is used by our Azure web app. Okay, so please pray for demo gods to be nice. And I will just like show you how this works in theory and in practice as well. So as you can see, this is localhost because right before the session, I needed to do some super final touches. And I did not deploy them to Azure yet. So please forgive me for that. So this is an easy 4-step process, as you can see here in this progress bar. And the first thing that we need to do is we need to upload a file. And of course, I prepared this already for you, and I will use the very same example that I used in the slide. And it will do two things for me. It will tell me, yes, your file got uploaded, congratulations. And second, CDM entities were detected. So if you're not knee-deep into the Power Platform, then you might not know what is a CDM entity. So every single Power Platform environment comes with common data model tables that are already pre-installed for you. And two of those are account and contact, and you may reuse them for literally every single application that you will build, and it makes building on Power Platform super easy and very, very streamlined. And you can now choose if you want to reuse those CDM entities, which is best practice and highly recommended, or if you really want to go rogue and create custom entities with the same name, and it's highly advised against that. So I will use the CDM entities. It will now tell me, yeah, Luise, that's fine, cool, but your Mermaid diagram, that was not picture perfect. And this is why I got a little bit of information over here and even 2 warnings. And the information says, yeah, in your entity event, that has a column called status. But every table that you will create, just like if you create a naked table, there will be already columns that are predefined. Like in a SharePoint list, you have columns, they are just there, even if you did not add them. And that is, for example, the status column. And if you try to then add another status column, it will tell you, hey, that already exists. So we do not want you to just like get into this error. So I will just like safely ignore your status column if you don't, if you really want to proceed with this diagram. Second, that happens for the 3 custom tables that we did before. And then there is a naming conflict because I uploaded a Mermaid diagram that said, hey, in my entity events, there is a non-primary column that is called name. And if you create a new table in Dataverse, that will automatically have a primary column, and that is called name. So there will be a conflict. So I will present you with some fixes, and you can choose if you want to apply them. So you could say, hey, the column name will be event name for my event table, or it will be location name for my location table. And I can choose to just like apply those fixes over here. And then the warnings go away and only the information message bars will stay here. I am then presented with my complete ERD, which considers already the suggested fixes so that I can review that once again. And I already see my corrected Mermaid diagram that is now correctly rendered. So a thing that I did yesterday evening, was very important to ship this. Obviously, there is dark mode. And then also this diagram renders nicely in dark mode. But more importantly, so I'm the princess, so I did a pink mode, and the diagram adjusts to that as well. So next thing is our parsed schema overview. So we see we have the CDM integration with the account and the contact table. We have 3 custom tables over here, and they already have just like the data types that we defined. So this got automatically detected, and I have the relationships over here that I want to provision. So I go to next, solution and publisher. I can now choose if I want to create either a new solution or if I want to use and add to an existing solution. If I want to add to an existing solution, I can search for that, and then it would just like tell me, okay, so which one do you want to use? I can do that, but for now, I would just like create a new solution. So this will be PMP Luise, which looks fine to me. It will automatically generate the internal name that does not consist of any spaces in here. I can choose whether or not I want to add the related tables already to my solution, because as you can imagine, the accounts table, for example, has relationships to other tables again. And if I want to add them or not, I will choose to not do this for now. Now onto the publisher, either an existing one or a new one. I will create a new one, PMP. Let's go for Luise, which has 8 characters, and that is the maximum, and it will be automatically created here for me. I will proceed to the global choices, which is already my 3rd step. So in each and every single Power Platform environment, there are 148 built-in global choices that you might want to sync your choice column to, which is very cool. And I can now here search for the ones that I like. So maybe I want priority and approval stage, but also I can choose a file and upload a JSON definition to create my new global choices. So I will show this to you over here. So that here is the very same file. So I have just like a global choices array that contains of a team assignment and a experience level global choice with some values in here. And I will upload that file. And I was very creative, global choices 1. So please clap for that. Will again tell me, hey, you uploaded this successfully, congratulations to you, and it will show me the global choices and their individual values already here. Next step would be deploying, so I will review this quickly. So I have my solution, I have my publisher, perfect, I have the custom entities, I love those, I have the relationships, perfect, I have the CDM integrations. I have the global choices, both of the one that I selected that are already were already existing, and also the ones that I uploaded from my JSON file. And now I go to deploy to Dataverse, and now it will be deploying. So this now will take just like roughly 4 or 5 minutes. So let's see if we can get back to that later on. Obviously, I did a dry run just like before the session to just like show you what is the end result of that. And the end result, you can see that was just like here 35 minutes ago. So I just like did that right before the session. So what we can see is that we have the account and contact table added, and that we have 3 new tables. And these 3 new tables, obviously, they have relationships with each other. So you can see here the account reference and the attendee type, and all the lookup columns were already applied to. And also we have the global choices, so the approval stage and experience level and priority and team assignment. And you can see which one of those were selected global choices and which one carry the prefix that I defined. And for the dry run, I chose a prefix called dry run. So let's get back to some slides. Yeah, so as you can imagine, to just like see, okay, so what's in that table and how to pass those values to the Dataverse web API, I would say welcome to regexcel. And what I needed to do is I needed to establish some key parsing patterns. So for entity detection, so that I got from customer fancy brackets entity colon to that it should be the customer table. Then I needed to do relationship extraction, so that I got from customer double pipes --o to a one-to-many relationship, and then the attribute parsing for the different column names, column types, and column descriptions. And then I defined an output structure so that I could pass that then into my Dataverse calls. For the Dataverse API, so I have just like several endpoints for publisher management, solution management, for the option sets, and for the entity and relationship creation. But that was just like seriously the easy part once the parsing was done. In case you wonder how that is built, so I tried to do this as modular as possible, because that really helped with debugging and testing everything properly. Everything, of course, is open source. You can dig into the code if you like to. And you might ask, yeah, Luise, that's cool, but what about Plan Designer? You just need to prompt that. You do not need that, all of that. And to that I say, well, prompts aren't code. So they look like they could be versioned, but they are not deterministic. That means that the very same words might give you a totally different schema tomorrow, or a slightly different schema, and you have you can't predict that. And that makes deployments unpredictable and non-repeatable. And please do not come at me and just like, yeah, it's just a POC. No, those always land in prod. So I can't really advocate for that. So how do you deploy the solution? So I do have a PowerShell script that uses Azure CLI to just like create the app registration and the application user and assign the correct security role. And that will kick off the Azure resources deployment with a bicep template. And I will put the secret into the key vault and remove all the temporary permissions that were needed to do so. And yes, that runs idempotent. So if you already have something, it will just like handle this gracefully, and you can just like continue, and it will not just like, yeah, this app registration already exists. No, we handle this gracefully. And then there is another PowerShell script to deploy the Azure Web App, for example, after you made a code change. So if you want to go for Star Wars theme, purple theme, and so on, and you want to deploy that, you do not need to just like run through the entire thing again, but you can do subsequent deploys after code changes. Yes, so this project started as a very, very simple local Node.js app with literally 3 files and under 100 lines of code. And this evolved over time into a proper project, including docs and tests and the public GitHub repository. You can find that at github.com/LuiseFreese/Mermaid. Thank you to everyone I had the pleasure to learn from, and sharing is caring. Thank you.